Last time on Spyro the Dragon, constant fail after constant fail led to some off-screen rage quits, which in turn permitted me to increase my total number of extra lives all the way up to 96. And with only 4 extra lives remaining in the whole entire game, we now have everything we'll ever need as we embark for our journey's end. Hello, I'm Mike Gordon, and yes, you already see it. This is the final episode of my perfect playthrough of Spyro the Dragon for the Sony PlayStation, as we are already setting foot in Gnasty's world, also known as Gnorc Gnexus. Wow, for a final world, this does feel really small. It's almost like a Crash Bandicoot warp room type of thing. Well, the reason for this is because, I will get to that a bit. What I will tell you straight up is there's technically 200 treasures and 2 dragons in this world, but you cannot get them all in one sitting. It's due to those dragon mouths that you have to open up. How?
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Gnasty's world now, Spyro, and you are the dragon who must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Gnasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Gnorc himself.
So, yeah. Follow Delbin's advice, go to start with Gnorc Cove and work your way around. And, so yeah, you might notice too that I did not show the clips from Spyro Reignited. I showed the wrong clips from Spyro Reignited Trilogy and even showed the name and location of that dragon. This is because all the dragons in Gnasty's world are literally rehashed from previous levels. You see, Gnorc Gnexus is not not a world that is populated by dragons. It is a remote world that is also the home base of Gnasty Gnorc's operation, so to speak. So dragons generally don't go there. There are only 6 dragons all together across all the levels in Gnorc Gnexus, and every single one was a dragon that was previously freed that has now been captured a second time because they attempted to take matters into their own hands and failed. That's the story. So, Gnorc Gnexus, Gnasty's world by and large is a very small world. There are no enemies in the hub world itself. And there's actually even fewer levels here than there are in any other world, and everything is sort of strewn about along the same path, so there's really no missable. So there's really nothing here that's easy to miss. So the reason why the Gnorc Gnexus is just a single room, why all the dragons are rehashed from previous worlds, it's actually due to time constraints. The name of this world was originally planned to be called the Machinus, and it would have featured every single world. Okay, we're gonna free a dragon. It would have featured its own population of dragons, but all of that was cut down due to time and budget.
Keep up the good work, Spyro. I expect Gnasty's really starting to worry about you.
I'd be shaking in my Gnorc boots if I were him.
Another reason why I also went with the previous world clips was for 2 reasons. Number 1 is show off which of the newly freed dragons it is that who the dragons we are freeing are a second time, who were they previously, and this is also proof because this is further proof that Insomniac simply could not get the dragon voices straight. They do end up reusing the same model for those dragons. For what it's worth, they do get the models correct every time. But they can't get the voices straight because they are kind of just a collage of names and voices. Like, there's 74 different names and there are like 5 voices between them. So, all why Insomniac never bothered creating female names, because they don't want, because A, they couldn't afford the female voices, and B, they didn't want to have to create feminine bother trying to create feminine models. So yeah, you can tell because that does not at all sound like Latif from Dreamweavers. That does not sound like Delbin from Arsons. It actually sounds more like Nestor from Arsons rather than Delbin. Oh yeah, and speaking of Delbin, there is a bit of an elephant in the room, but not really, because Delbin is a mandatory dragon that you have to rescue. In total, you cannot beat this game. The fewest number of dragons you need to rescue in order to beat this game is 51. Though, honestly, I don't know why you would go for a minimalist run unless you are like a hardcore gamer. That's arguably harder than 120% because that literally means you have to dodge anything that isn't mandatory. But Delbin in Gnorc Gnexus is mandatory because the portal to the next level that we will be doing after this one will not open until you properly beat Gnorc Gnexus itself, as in take the vortex back home, and B, you free Delbin.
Wow, I never thought I'd be rescued, especially by such a little dragon. What I mean is, I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe!
So yeah, they couldn't get the voices straight to save their lives. But yes, this is also the only instance of 2 dragons from the same world. Of us actually freeing 2 dragons from the same world, so to speak. So Thomas and Delbin are both from Arsons, and Latif is from Dreamweavers. Every other dragon we free will come from a completely different world. Delbin and Thomas are the only ones who are 2 peas in a pod, so to speak, in terms of what worlds they came from. Furthermore, none of these dragons that we are freed are from the different levels, from the sub-levels. They are all from the home worlds themselves. So you're not going to see any dragons from Stone Hill. You're not going to see anything from anyone from Treetops. I think it's because Insomniac's way of thinking was probably that the homeworlds are the only worlds that are actually mandatory to play through. Otherwise, you can pretty much play any level or skip any level. You do have to complete some levels, but that's all pre-medicated on their order. They also went out of their way to make sure to avoid any hard-to-get dragons. Or hard to spot dragons. As every dragon you do see is not only from a different homeworld, but is generally in the same realm. I think that's also the reason why they went with Thomas for one of the 2 Arsons dragons, since that is a dragon you could theoretically miss. That you could theoretically miss when you play this game the first time. So we already broke that locked chest without having the need to use the key, so now we just have to make our way back to the exit. Yes, we have to take the... Honestly, it's not like it would matter too much, because even if we did beat every single... Even if we did beat every single level... Even if we were... Because even... Because it's not that much slower to just 100% the worlds the first time and then go through the exit portal, as it would if you just exit out of the level. You can't exit out of the level, though. You just can't, and the reason is because if you exit out the level through the pause menu, the portal will not open because the game does not read it as you having beaten the game. But because we have free Delbin and completed Gnorc Cove, the next level is now available to us. And this is actually the last remaining level with a pretty high death, with a strong death count. Alright, so if you want to know why I skipped ahead, it's literally because I skipped ahead. I completely forgot about it because I was dilly-dallying. This is the last level in the game where the well, okay, there's Gnasty Gnorc's level. Gnasty Gnorc himself also gives a pretty decent chance of dying in the level as well. However, Gnasty's world does not have any doesn't really have any enemies that you have to worry about outside Gnasty Gnorc himself. So you can't really farm for lives in this game anymore. Yeah, because there are no enemies in Gnorc Gnexus, you can't really farm for extra lives. So the next dragon we're about to free is kind of the most disgraced one of the bunch, especially since, like Latif before him, he too is a leader of his own realm, specifically the Magic Crafter's realm.
Thank you for releasing me.
Yeah, they reduced that majestic-looking dragon, the leader of the Magic Crafters, into a generic "thank you for releasing me" sort of fellow. They also gave him a voice that is completely wrong, just like they did with Lafitte. Like, at least in Gnorc Gnexus, at least with Delbin, it makes perfect sense for the developers at Insomniac to possibly have gotten Delbin confused with Nestor, so they gave him Nestor's voice. And if you want to know, Toys for Bob actually gets all the voices straight. Also, another dragon that we are going to rescue after we get the fodder.
Be on the lookout for Gnorc commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
Yeah, so not only is the voice not right with Cleus, but apparently the coloring isn't either. However, to be fair, I do think this is more an issue of lighting with the differences in ah, damn it. Let's try this again. Alright. By the way, we already maxed out our lives, and there's one more extra life here that's not accounted for. That's not it. So what I'm going to do, because there's one more extra life that's not accounted for. Actually, I was completely wrong when I said there were 4 lives left. It's actually 5. So yeah, I'm just gonna death abuse here because we already have max lives and there's one more extra life on top of that hill that I ignored. Boom, 99 lives. It does mean I will have to take on the entire last leg of this level basically on my own. This is what the final leg doesn't have any extra lives remaining. It is also very, 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 very hard. as the enemies actually have very quick reaction times, and they have ridiculously long ranges. The small Gnorcs that you can damn it. The small Gnorcs have the potential to be the most dangerous of the bunch because they will because you give them any time to cock their weapon, they will shoot you instantly. So yeah, Cleus is it's great to see you, but I got Go Dragon from Beastmakers. He actually says less this time around, but what he says is technically, but it's more substantial by comparison, I guess. Be on the lookout for Gnorc Commandos. That makes sense because these are the most dangerous enemies in the game. Now the question is, had Insomniac had the time and the budget to better flesh out Gnorc Gnexus, would there have been more levels? Would we have gotten a flight level, for instance? I do think Gnasty Gnorc, the final 2 levels after this, were always going to be a thing. After all, developers at the time were basically looking for ways to bolster replayability of their games without having to resort to jacking up the difficulty. So yeah, that's both dragons rescued and all 400 treasure. And now we just have 1 dragon left. He will not be available until after you beat Gnasty Gnorc. And by the way, as a reminder, no, this does not make Delbin a missable dragon because you have to free Delbin or open up Twilight Harbor. And that even goes for Gnasty Gnorc himself. Now we've all but 100% the level. All that remains is the final dragon. It is now time to take on Gnasty Gnorc. And so the dragon at the very beginning of the game, when you said 12, we do now have 12,000 treasure. Or is it 14,000? That's a dead giveaway that Gnasty Gnorc himself, the Gnasty Gnorc's level, actually has 500 treasures. 1,200 treasure is needed for 100% completion, but 14,000 treasure is the grand total. He also said 5 worlds in the 5 worlds of the Dragon's Age before saying, or is it 6? Because technically, Gnorc Gnexus is not a dragon world, but it is one of the 6 worlds. It's just not one of the worlds that dragons populate. So I chased around, collect all the treasure, and got his key. Also gave me time to memorize where the store would be located. And we managed to get everything. I just want to double check. It looks like we have everything. Okay. It's kind of hard to tell because, yeah, okay, I decided to just go. Okay, I did miss a gem. Because 178 is a kind of a particular number. 179 is also particular, but at least I know I have everything. So I just have to chase Gnasty through this section. Gnasty accounts for 125 treasures personally, and it takes 2 hits to take him down. So this is just phase 2 of the fight, and in total it takes 2 hits to take him down. So right now I'm just making absolutely sure to nab all the treasure, and I'm going to save Gnasty for the run around back. Yes, it takes 2 laps through the second phase to get everything. So So that's all. No matter what though, Gnasty is gonna be faster than you. That is just the simple fact of the matter. Gnasty will always be faster than you. The idea though is to try to keep tabs on him and to try to breathe him before he does his attack and then jumps down. So now for the final phase, and this is definitely the one section that is actually kind of dangerous. You gotta charge across these platforms. They are closing into the walls as we speak. So we gotta hurry to Gnasty, and all it takes is one hit on Gnasty, and he is toast.
You're toast, Gnorc.
I'll be sure to tap off afterwards.
Sorry I took so long. I kind of forgot about you.
What about Gnasty Gnorc?
Gnasty Gnorc is toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to pick up.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Cosmos kicking the sheep at the end, and Latif also joining into it. It's abundantly clear that Cosmos and Latif are the dragon leaders that like to leave their worlds the most. Because you also see them at the beginning, they just don't have any lines. So while the credits roll, I've decided to set up some cheat codes that you could use that you can access from your inventory screen. Square, 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 circle up, circle left, circle right, circle start. That would have been a cheat code I would have inputted if not for all my screw-ups permitting me to farm for more extra lives off screen. I definitely would be inputting this cheat after beating Gnasty Gnorc because the final level doesn't really have any deaths in it. And the level select from inventory, square, square, circle, square, left, right, circle, up, right, down. I might have gotten something wrong here because it's a kind of weird, but the idea of the level select is if you start a new game, you can just go to the balloonist and he'll take you to whatever world you would like to do in whatever order that you'd like. So you could go straight to Gnasty's world from the very beginning without freeing any dragons or collecting any treasures. It is cheating, but I decided to show this off because we are not quite done with this game at all. This is not 15 minutes of credits. And speaking of which, view game credits from inventory, left, right, up, down, circle, circle, square, R1, R2, L1, L2. Again from the inventory screen. Meaning you could just view these credits, this end credits screen right off the bat if you put in this cheat code. There is one other cheat code, but it's not accessible from the inventory. I will talk about it after we, in the bonus episode. Yes, there will be a bonus episode, and this cheat code is basically the last thing I want to show off as far as accomplishing everything the game has to offer. Oh! Yeah, the port dragons are the only no sheep were harmed for in the creation of this game. A few Gnorcs, but no sheep. So it's borderline British humor, even though I'm pretty sure Insomniac is an American or Canadian developer. So just one last dragon. I'm gonna tap off Sparks here so he has gold health.
Gnasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Gnasty's treasure hoard. But the gate will not open until you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
This is pretty much the only dragon out of the 6 in Gnasty's world who has the voice and appearance completely straight. But yes, we now have 100% completion. This is evident by the fact that the portal to Gnasty's loot is now open. And there are no dragons here, but there are a ton of treasure. 2,000 treasure in this one level. There's nothing of lower value than a yellow gem, which is worth 10. Everything is either worth 10 or 25 gems. Basically, this is just a celebratory victory lap of sorts, where you get to farm for all these goodies. Now, yes, I did consider making Gnasty's Loot its own individual episode, and I would have signed off after the end credits, but honestly, this isn't a terribly long level. It's probably 5 minutes long. Even taking into account that I plan on doing a bonus episode afterwards, it probably would not. It only would have made this episode in the a little shorter, in the next level a little longer. So, this is also technically a flight level. However, you can only go as high as the highest platform you've reached. So you have to literally climb up the steps and try and go higher and higher whenever possible. Because otherwise Spyro is capped on how high he can go. This is technically a flight level, but not really. You're not learning how to fly anymore, you are flying. And you're also not under any time limits either, nor do you have to go through an obstacle course. So, trick with the turbine to take care of that thief. And that will make retrieving that key a little easier. Unfortunately, this is where the easy thieves is done. There are 2 more thieves in this level, and they are riding on top inside of planes and are a pain in the butt to chase down. All right, where do we go? Here we are. Yeah, I just want to double check. Yep, they are on planes now, and unfortunately there's no other way to cheese these. You literally have to fly. You gotta hug the corner. What you gotta do to catch these thieves is hug the corners as much as possible. Keep in mind that you fly faster when flying against a surface of some kind, whether this is a floor or a wall. Alright, so here is the penultimate level in Gnasty's Loot. And the route I'm taking here is definitely not ideal. I would rather go chase them clockwise as opposed to counterclockwise. But let's see what I can do. I decided to chase them from down below because I figured it'd be faster that way. Again, fly against either the floor or the seal, or either against the floor or the wall. That's what you should be doing. At least I'm no longer clipping on the pipe, but let's see if I can catch him before we have to start dodging some obstacles again. So yeah, you have to be flying against the surface in order to fly even faster. I mean, that works fine because we're cutting our corners trying to reach him, but we're having kind of a hard time doing that. Alright, we got him. And now for the final elevation level, so to speak. Just a single yellow gem worth 10 treasure. But that's fine because now we can access the entire rest of Gnasty's loot. And can have literally everything else. Alright, let's collect all this booty here. Now, if you think that counts nutty now, wait until we get to the final room. Gnasty's personal little penthouse, so to speak. Alright, there's one last crate that I need to blow up. Where's the other rocket? It's not there. Ah, here it is. Can't believe it missed it after appearing on my line of sight twice. But hey, that's pretty much evidence on just how out of breath out of practice I am with this game. Here it is, all those exploding chests. Claim one, and they all explode. It's all purple gems here. All 25s. We just collect these and we will get to see whether or not we hit 2,000 treasure or not. If we don't, when we go through the vortex at the end, we will just be getting the typical return to home stage. But if you go through now, the game ends.
Spyro the Dragon, you've defeated Gnasty Gnorc, collected the dragon eggs, saved all the dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the dragon world, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my dragon days butting heads with Gnasty Gnorc and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt that Gnasty, in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again!
And that is Spyro the Dragon for the Sony PlayStation. Yeah, I was a Crash Bandicoot kid growing up all through and through. I will freely admit that. We only got Spyro the Dragon because it was my baby brother's first video game, so to speak. And he doesn't have as strong feelings for this game as I do. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that I eventually came around to this game myself. I liked it fine when this game first came out, but in replaying this game and understanding the level layouts and how Insomniac envisioned how 100% playthroughs would be designed, where you don't need to do any kind of backtracking in order to achieve a perfect playthrough, like not at all. You can get outside Gnorc Gnexus itself, you can get everything on your very first try. And honestly, that's kind of the fun part about it. You kind of have to make the discovery. You still have to go out of your way and make the discoveries for yourself, though, if you want to 100% all the levels. Some of them are easier to 100% than others. Wizard's Peak, I guess High Caves and Peacekeepers are also kind of hard at 100%. And oh yeah, Haunted Towers. Can't forget about Haunted Towers, that was the last one. But yeah, it looks like we're coming to the end of the credits. I hope you enjoyed my perfect playthrough of Spyro the Dragon. It is a very excellent platformer all throughout. Great controls, great camera work for its time. But do tune in next time for the bonus episode. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Your support would be greatly appreciated. And with that out of the way, no sheep were harmed during the creation of this game. Few Gnorcs, but no sheep. Mike Gordon, sign out.